were at one stage also a mentor to Steve Jobs' daughter.
Yes, I was.
What was it to be a mentor to the man who himself was such an ignited mind?
I was very honored to be selected to be the main teacher for Steve Jobs' daughter.
This was where?
Lisa Brennan Jobs, and it was at Palo Alto High School, and he took her out of private school and moved her into my class. First, when I met him, I didn't know who he was, actually.
So did you not recognize from his face or otherwise?
No, he wasn't so famous in the 1980s.
He's still wearing the black t-shirt.
Oh yeah, I was wearing the black t-shirt.
Esther Wojcicki was a name of a reckoning in the 70s and 80s when she decided to challenge the academic program.
Peer-to-peer work was called cheating. It was against the rules, so I challenged the system.
One of your daughter, Susan, went on to become YouTube's CEO.
Susan realized that Google had something special. And they were in her garage. She decided she was going to join them. The only thing they needed her to do was figure out how to make money. Larry and Sergey said, well, we can find anything, but we just don't know how to make any money. Yahoo was the #1 company. And in order to do search on Yahoo, you had to buy a big book.
Did it impact you personally, her death?
She was very healthy. She ate well, exercised, she slept. She got a type of cancer called non-small cell lung cancer. No idea where it comes from. We also started Lung Cancer Foundation in her honor. Try to find the cause and cure.
Into her mid-80s now, Esther Wojcicki was a name of a reckoning in the 70s and 80s when she decided to challenge the academic program and culture here in the United States. She continues to be a name of a reckoning. Things that she has done are extraordinary because she challenged and disputed the culture in the US, but also she wanted to turn her original profession of journalism to proper academic teaching. Over the last 30 years or so, she has developed her own program in California in Palo Alto. Her daughters are also a name to reckon with. Joining me today is Esther Wojcicki herself in New York as we speak about her own career and things that shape and influence her and the way that she has also influenced the civil society. Welcome to the show, Esther. It's been actually a privilege seeing your formidable career, whatever I have gathered here in New York from different people, from different walks of life, but also at the same time, your rich, devoted contributions, almost steadfast in your approach to bring an overhaul into the way things are taught either in the US schools or the universities or abroad as well. My first question to you is, what prompted this move several years back when you decided to pivot from journalism to teaching?
Originally, I was going to be a journalist. And then I got a graduate degree from University of California at Berkeley, Graduate School of Journalism. And this was actually in the 1970s. And what happened was I went out to try to be a journalist, get a job after I got the degree, and nobody would hire me. They would only hire me for one section of the paper, and it was called the women's section. The newspapers used to have news, opinion, sports, and women.
Right.
And the women's section was full of recipes, how to take care of your children, how to take care of your husband, how to cook. And I wanted to write news and opinion. And I couldn't get a job. I couldn't even get into the San Francisco Press Club. Women were banned. Women were banned from press clubs all over the United States.
Shocking.
It was women were not considered journalists. It was a man's profession. So
that dissuaded you from continuing journalism as a profession.
Yes. I said, well, if I can't be a journalist, I'll train journalists. I'll be able to get my goal across, even if I can't do it myself. All these great smart young people, they can be journalists.
Right.
And that's how I ended up teaching journalism at Palo Alto High School.
Right. Of course, Esther, the way that you have challenged the existing systems in the schools and universities is not many people can afford to do that because it may not have takers. We are taught to learn things by rote, by remembering them. And then we are also taught that the lectures can only be taught in one way or the other. It's a cul-de-sac. It's a one-way street in most universities. But you challenged this system. You wanted to bring a raft of changes in the academic rigor, which we all have when we go to the prestigious schools. So how difficult or easy it was for you to walk on this path?
It was really difficult for me to change the system and to walk on this path, as you say. So I first did it at Palo Alto High School, and I was giving students an opportunity to work in teams, peer-to-peer training. This was in the 1980s and the 1990s. And I don't know if those of you that remember back to that time, and most of the audience today wasn't even born then.
Right.
Peer-to-peer work was called cheating.
Okay.
It was against the rules for students to work together. You had to do it yourself.
Right.
So I challenged the system and said, kids learn more when they work together, when they work in teams. And I ran into a lot of problems dealing with the administration, but the administration was basically afraid to challenge me because the community journalism program supported me. All the newspapers around supported my teaching.
So which administration was this?
This was at the Palo Alto High School.
Right.
And it just took a while for them to realize the power of peer-to-peer learning. The other thing that helped me a lot was in 2002, I got the award of California Teacher of the Year for the state of California. So, and I was nominated by assemblymen in the California State Assembly.
Right.
And that made a huge difference in my career because when you have an award like that, people start to listen. So I was extremely grateful.
Right. I mean, of course, when you look back at things in retrospect and the hindsight, you believe that what you did was a formidable challenge in terms of how to bring the administrators and also your own peers in terms of the faculty to accept what you were doing was right. Still, I believe that many of the Ivy League universities do not follow what you have wanted to change in them. Do you think that the essence of what you were taught is today practically available in terms of the format in some of the Ivy League colleges and the universities?
So some of the Ivy Leagues are shifting to include peer-to-peer learning within the university. But the majority of them are just doing lecture and textbooks. And all the research shows that lecture is the most ineffective way to learn. People remember 1% of what they hear. And then with textbooks, it's 5%. And the only way that you can memorize it is repeat it over and over and over and make yourself memorize it. But the question is, why do you have to memorize all these facts?
Right.
When you have a phone in your pocket, what you need to remember is how to find that information on your phone. But you don't need to memorize that information. But there's some information that is very important to remember, and that is history or geography or foreign languages, or there are parts of the curriculum that are important to remember. But there are many parts of the curriculum which it's really unnecessary to memorize everything.
Now, I mean, of course, that Palo Alto was your own baby in terms of the things you developed there, things you brought in there in terms of the changes. Till date, are they still following what you brought in terms of the changes?
I must tell you, I'm so happy and proud of Palo Alto Schools because they are doing a lot of project-based, peer-to-peer learning. It's a great system, and it ranks at the top of the state of California, top of the nation. And many high schools around the country are also doing peer-to-peer learning. I think in the universities, it's harder because the lectures have hundreds of students in it. And those 100 students, they don't get that opportunity. So I work with the group called Join KNACK, KNACK.com.
Right.
And this is a method to bring peer-to-peer learning into the universities.
Right.
So let's say you're a student in a class that has 400 people and you don't understand what's going on. You can go on KNACK and then request help. And another student in the class who knows what they're talking about can help you.
Right.
So that helps both the student that's the teacher and the student that's the learner, because they get to meet each other. And it's collaborative. And then they make friends. And then you don't feel so isolated.
Right.
So, yes, I recommend KNACK.
Right. Coming back to your own personal journey, Esther, it's nothing short of being remarkable. Having born in New York and then having gone to California, marrying a Polish husband who was going to teach at Stanford in future, and then also you yourself went on to accumulate so many degrees in your life. What was your own educational journey in the 70s and 80s before you ventured into teaching or the pedagogy of it?
So my education journey, I was a student in Los Angeles public schools. So I graduated from a high school called Verdugo Hills High School, which is in the northern part of San Fernando Valley in Los Angeles.
Right.
And then, fortunately, I got a scholarship to University of California at Berkeley. So I went there literally on the bus, a Greyhound bus. And I was very excited to be there. But when I got there, it was shocking because it was so big, so huge. I didn't quite know what to do. I felt a little lost. But I was so determined to get a college degree that I did it. You know, I pursued it, and I majored in political science and English. And then I got a master's degree. I loved going to school. A master's degree in journalism.
Right.
And then another master's degree in education.
This is from
Berkeley.
Okay.
UC Berkeley.
And then, of course, after that, you went on to...
Well, then I
travel to
went
other
on
countries.
to study at the University of Paris, the Sorbonne, where I studied history and culture in France, and I loved that too. And then I also studied at the University of Geneva in Switzerland. I was already married at this time. My husband was at CERN, the Center for European Nuclear Research. And so, I mean, we had a wonderful time.
So he was in Switzerland too.
He was in Switzerland too, and in Paris too with me.
Right. So if I were to ask you that these 3 master's programs, they must have left a lot of indelible impression in your mind at that time in terms of things you learned there and things you wanted to use them in your practical life ahead. So what are the memories of getting taught at all the 3 prestigious universities?
Well, so the main message or the main memory I have is if I needed help with anything, I couldn't get it. Because people are so smart at Berkeley. And there's no way that they introduce people to each other. There's no collaboration. So that's why I really supported KNACK, because I wanted kids going to those universities to say, well, if I don't know how to do the subject or whatever I'm doing, there's other people in the class that I can work with.
Right.
And that was one of the main things from Berkeley, because it's so big. As a graduate student in Berkeley, it's crazy. My classes had only 10 people in it. 10.
Is that all?
That's all. It was their seminars. And I thought, this is reversed. When I was a freshman, I needed to be in classes with 10.
Correct.
But now I'm a graduate student. I know how to study. I can go into a big class. So yes, that's what happens. The graduate programs all over the country are very small.
Right.
And the undergraduate programs are huge. So what can we do to support students in those undergraduate programs?
Correct.
Peer-to-peer is the most effective. And it's hard to do that because the lecture centers, their seats, they're in cement.
Right.
And you're all facing forward, everybody.
Right.
But after the class, you go, it'd be nice to be able to meet with other people. They do break down into sections, smaller sections. But even those sections usually have 40 to 50 people in them.
Right.
So what I'm trying to do is make it more collaborative. All the research shows, all the educational research shows that peer-to-peer and collaboration makes a huge difference in learning.
Correct.
And can we do that? The universities don't have to spend any more money. They just have to make it available.
Yeah.
And, they can do the Join NAC. It's a great program. They can just go online and look. It's the only program that I've seen of its kind that helps really support the college student.
And then when you went to Switzerland and France, these two countries, did you discover that the teaching culture was different from the US?
Just the same. Oh, that's not true. In Paris, the classes were huge. As a matter of fact, they were so big that if you didn't run to class in time, you wouldn't get a seat.
Right.
So I ran. But in Geneva, I didn't speak French that well.
Right.
And the Swiss, they're so nice. They're like, you don't speak French well enough, we'll help you. Here, we have a special program for you to help you catch up so you learn French. So I learned French in about 4 months. I was fluent. Yes, and I must say, I love the University of Geneva.
Now, the way that you have developed these programs for the educational studies and the meta-analysis that you have so often mentioned this to bring specific research-supported education strategy. It says that, of course, you want to wean the students off the lectures and the rote learning methods. But at the same time, you want them to focus on studying material over days and weeks, which is called distributed or spaced practice, and then the retrieval practice, and then interleaved practice as well. So when you develop these programs, did you actually find that people or the pupils or the kids were quite receptive to this idea of going through this sort of learning as well?
They go through that kind of learning when they're doing subjects like history, geography, subjects where you actually have to memorize. But in journalism, the most important thing you do in journalism is collect data from various sources.
Correct.
Then you have to think and figure out, what's the most important? How am I supposed to structure it? How can I put this together with who, what, when, why, and how in 50 words or less?
Right.
And so this develops critical thinking skills. And then also you have to write out the rest of the story in order, information of descending importance.
Right.
So it requires a lot of thinking, and it's more effective to do this when you're working with another student.
Correct. Now, Esther, out of curiosity, when I look at your own childhood and compare that to your parenting to your 3 daughters as well, one of your daughter, Susan, went on to become YouTube's CEO. I'm sure that many viewers would be very, very curious to know what were those moments in flashes that you remember of when your daughter, out of that garage, gave that building to the YouTube founders. And then that's how YouTube was founded. You must not have imagined that YouTube would go on to become such a phenomenon in those years because video journalism or videos were not that popular in that era. So did Susan actually share this idea with you at that time?
Yeah.
What was it like?
She wanted to make everybody have a voice, give people an opportunity to share videos and life experiences with each other. And so her grandmother, my husband's mother, was a librarian at the Library of Congress. She was the Slavic Division librarian. And she made books available for people. And Susan thought of herself as like, well, books aren't so popular now. How about video? Video was locked up with Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, all the major studios. Why don't we give everyone an opportunity to make a video about their life or about their children or about whatever they want? So she was very excited about doing that. And of course, I supported my children in whatever they wanted to do.
So where was she staying at that time?
Well, Google started in her garage. And so, she didn't start YouTube right away.
Google started in her garage or YouTube started in her garage?
Google started in her garage. And then that YouTube was bought by Google.
Correct.
So when she first was, 24 years old or so, or 27, that's when Google rented her garage. And 6 months after they rented her garage, she realized, oh, this Google thing, it works. I think I want to join and be part of the team. And they hired Susan to be in charge of PR and figuring out how to make money for a young company that had no idea how to make any money.
She led the marketing and advertisement revenue department, I believe.
Well, she started it. There was no marketing and no advertising department. There was nothing.
So would she come every day and tell you, Mom, look, this is what I'm developing at Google and YouTube?
The whole thing was in her garage. She didn't have to come. She was there.
So this garage was shared in terms of the premises with you?
No, this was her garage. She had bought a house in Menlo Park and then needed money to pay the mortgage. And she rented it to Larry and Sergey. She found them on the Stanford campus, just at the student center.
No.
They were just there.
So what would her father tell her, realizing that, of course, the founders are also from Stanford and they may have known each other as well. Did he feel proud of the fact that it was your daughter who was sort of brainstorming with them?
To be honest, there were lots of companies doing search in 2000, 1999, everywhere.
Right.
There were and the question is, who can actually do it right? Yahoo was the number one company. And in order to do search on Yahoo, you had to buy a big book. It was called The Yellow Pages of Yahoo. It was about this thick.
Right.
And you searched in the book to find what you wanted to find, and then you typed in the address.
Right.
That's how it used to work. And there were other companies out there doing the same thing. But when Susan realized that Google had something special, and they were in her garage, she decided she was going to join them. And then the only thing they needed her to do was figure out how to make money. Because Larry and Sergey said, well, we can find anything, but we just don't know how to make any money.
Wow. But then if this one, your particular daughter, Susan, was also the brightest of the three in terms of her own education pedigree that she went on to ratchet up, whether it is UCLA that she went to or Harvard she went to. The degrees that she has, she was almost following your footsteps in her academic rigor. Is the academic quest that she had in her mind, she was like taking you as a role model. Is that right to say?
Yeah, that's probably true. As
compared to the other daughters?
Well, the other daughters did it too. Janet got a master's degree in African American studies and then got a PhD as well in medical anthropology.
Correct.
Then got 2 additional degrees. And then Anne got a degree in it's biology, but it's molecular biophysics.
Which she formed her own organization later on.
Right, and she went to Yale, and Janet went to Stanford, Susan went to Harvard. They were all very academic and very, interested in...
But I'm sure, of course, it's not a small feat. It's a momentous feat for Susan to bequeath or leave a money worth $735 million when she resigned from YouTube, almost on the verge of cancer that she had contracted at that time. Her health went on to deteriorate, not without battling it for 2 years, almost something that she was not aware of, that the death was approaching so fast. Uh, did it impact you personally, her death, Susan? Because Susan had gained fandom, Susan had gained a status of her own in the world. Being the CEO of YouTube is not a small achievement, like I said. And also at the same time, to leave a bank account of $735 million is also not a small amount to leave behind her. Did that impact you personally, the loss?
Well, of course, the death of your first child is a tragedy. And of course it impacted me, and it still impacts me today, and impacts our whole family. I mean, she was a remarkable person. She wasn't just the CEO of YouTube, she was a great human being who cared a lot about her children and her family and her mother and father and everything. So and she was shocked with the diagnosis. She was very healthy. She ate well, exercised, she slept. She did everything you're supposed to do. She got a type of cancer called non-small cell lung cancer that afflicts more women in the world today than breast cancer. It's one of the diseases they have no idea where it comes from.
It originates from.
No.
That's despite the fact that I believe she was a non-smoker.
Yes, all non-small cell lung cancer is only non-smokers. So there are women who have, and it's primarily women, and they don't know why, and it attacks women that have never smoked, ever. It was a tragedy. And we were all shocked, and she was shocked. We couldn't believe.
So how would you reconcile with the bereavement, with the mourning that she was not going to be alive anymore when she was discovered with this sort of a cancer? But for those last moments with her, how did you regale each other with the memories of what she had achieved, or your own personal, as a doting mother that you were to 3 kids?
Well, we carry on her legacy. We carry on the whole family, her children, sisters, everybody, the work that she was interested in, helping people around the world, giving people a voice. We carry her message forward. And we also started a foundation, a lung cancer foundation in her honor, to try to find the cause and cure, so more people around the world, so no one around the world will ever have to suffer what she suffered.
So at the moment, there is no format of chemotherapy which can cure this disease?
No, there is nothing. No form of chemotherapy that can cure it. Nothing. And the reason that all the young people that get it are dying is because there are no symptoms until stage 4. And when you get to stage 4, it's too late. There's nothing you can do. She had not one symptom before that.
Like you said, she was quite healthy.
Yes, her symptom was she had a pain in her hip, and she thought she ran too much, because she was very athletic. So she went in to see what to do about the pain in her hip, and they discovered she had stage 4 cancer all over her body.
Right. I mean, of course, Esther, this was one of the tragic moments in your life, personally, to battle with a crisis where all of you were achievers in one way or the other, and super achievers, if I were to say, a super mom that you were from 70s to the 2020s, giving people a fresh lease of life, as we say, in terms of education. But at the same time, this bereavement and then another followed by your grandson must have also left you very, very battling with the turmoil. Marco's death was also something which left a scar in your memories as well, because, like you said, I mean, being a grandmom to 10 children and grandkids is not a small thing. Being a powerful grandmother that you were to all of them and to many such young kids, did Marco's death also due to drug overdose teach you something that you wanted to inculcate in many of us or many of others who wanted to follow the kind of career that you have emulated for yourself?
So Marco was an extraordinary young man. He died at the age of 19. And he died as the result of a drug overdose. It was a prescription drug. So it was not an illicit drug.
Right.
And I think the main thing that I think the message to go out to parents and other kids is that if you have a child who is anxious, it's best to teach them how to cope with it without drugs, because we all are anxious. And you have to learn how to take care of yourself and realize that anxiety is a part of life.
Right.
And how to calm yourself, maybe with meditation, or, some people use religion or music. But the drug industry in the United States promotes drug use for teenagers.
Absolutely.
So if you're anxious, let's give you a pill. If you can't sleep, here, we'll give you another pill. If you have, suicidal tendencies, we have even another pill.
Yeah.
So what happens is that young people then get accustomed to taking a pill for everything that bothers them. And the fact of the matter is that we don't need to take all those pills.
Correct. I also want to bring another sharp perspective in this conversation, Esther, since you talked about your grandson, your daughter, Susan. You were at one stage also a mentor to Steve Jobs' daughter.
Yes, I was.
The man who brought Apple to this country, to the world. You were the chosen one who was mentoring Mr. Jobs' daughter. What was it to be a mentor to the man who himself was such an ignited mind in the quest to challenge the Windows or the Microsoft? He developed a system which nobody would have presumed the giant as proportions that this company has become and taken over the world with its might. But you were the one who was mentor to teach his daughter. What was it to teach Steve Jobs' daughter?
Well, actually,
what did she learn from you?
I was very honored to be selected to be the main teacher for Steve Jobs' daughter.
This was where?
Lisa Brennan Jobs, and it was at Palo Alto High School, and he took her out of private school, was called Lick Wilmerding Private School in San Francisco, and moved her into my class. And first, when I met him, I didn't know who he was, actually, because he didn't introduce himself.
So did you not recognize from his face or otherwise?
No, he wasn't so famous in the 1980s. I didn't know, we didn't have the internet like we do today.
Right.
So I actually liked him right away because it was very direct.
Was he still wearing the black T-shirt and the blue?
Oh, yeah, I was wearing the black T-shirt. Yeah, right away. And then, she was only in 10th grade. So he was with me and in my program for 2 years. So during that time, I met him quite a bit. And he spent a lot of time actually observing kids in my class. I always wondered, why does he like this? Why does he come in all the time? But then I realized he was watching the kids interact with the computers. I had written a grant to the state of California. I got 6 computers.
Were they Apple or Windows?
They were little Apple computers. I wrote a grant, and I was the first teacher doing this.
So was he happy that it was Apple?
Well, he wouldn't have been in there if it wasn't Apple. Let's put it. And also, I tried to use HP computers. I'm sorry to say, I couldn't stand them.
Right.
The Apple computers, they were so cute, little box, and they were so easy to use, and the kids all loved them. And so it was great to be with him because Steve was an incredible person. He was very candid, very direct. If he didn't understand something, he told you. If he didn't like something, he told you. He was just a remarkable person.
Wow.
So I knew him all that time.
And so what are your memories of Lisa in particular?
She's a super talented writer, a very sweet girl, got along well with all her friends. When she first came, she was a little shy because, he had just taken her out of school and put her in a new school. But she quickly learned everything. And then she eventually, when she was a senior, she became one of the editors of the paper. And there were 4 editors, so she was one of 4. And I've stayed in touch with her. She's a wonderful person and a great writer.
Does she still stay in touch with you?
Yeah, she still stays in touch with you. As a matter of fact, I just was in touch with her today, this morning.
Oh, really?
Yes.
And what was the conversation like?
Well, we're going to get together.
Wow. In New York?
In New York.
Is she in New York?
Yes, right now she is.
Wow, incredible. No, I mean, of course, the thing is that you were an incredible teacher all these years. You taught some other brilliant people. Another question which comes to my mind is that what was it teaching your own kids, the 3 daughters, the 3 beautiful daughters, and the grandchildren as well? Did they get to learn from you as well directly some days?
So my daughters, I basically tried to teach them to be independent learners.
Yeah.
So I wanted them to do as much of the work as they could. And then if they needed me, they would ask me for help. So I didn't overextend myself and tell them what to do all the time because I thought that wasn't good for them. And because I didn't want them to be dependent on me unless for some reason they needed it. And so fortunately, my daughters treat their children the same way. So all the kids are doing really well. My oldest grandson got a master's in music and computer science. How's that for an interesting thing?
Amazing.
And my second granddaughter, or my second grandchild, but she's a granddaughter, she got a degree. She's now working on a master's degree in computational biology. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
This is the application of biology to computer science.
Computation biology.
Computation.
And where is this course being taught?
At Stanford.
Incredible. I've never heard of this course in my life. So, Esther, I mean, of course, these kids that you're talking about, how often do they actually run to you and say, Grandma, this is what we want to learn from you on their own as well?
Well, honestly, they just ask me questions whenever they have
Like the way I'm asking?
The way you are. They don't make an appointment. They just show up at dinner and then they have a lot of questions and then that answers the questions. Or they send me a text. Or it's like things like, how do I find an apartment? I'm trying to rent one. Or, it's just ordinary things.
Right. You mean to say the kids from Susan's marriage? Susan's?
She has 4 kids. So she had 5. Unfortunately, Marco passed away.
Right.
The 4 kids are still there doing their good work.
Right.
And then Janet has 2 kids. And then Anne has 3 kids.
So all of them are in California?
They're all in California.
All 10 are in California.
Well, one of the grandsons is in Boston.
Right.
And the other one is moving to New York.
Right.
And they're 25 and under.
Right.
So they haven't yet launched completely.
Now, I also want to come to your Anne's career as well. She's the only one who floated her own organization. And in 2000s, in mid-2000s, it was one of the first of its kind to develop this technology to test you from your saliva.
Yes,
is that right?
That's correct.
And then when it accomplished this technology, not many were ready to accept that this can actually do that. Today also, when you look at the organization structure, it continues to evolve from this same thought process. Where do you think, from your own conversations, this company is going to make more headways?
So Anne is very interested in your DNA and doing research with the DNA. So she had a bad situation where she was hacked.
Correct.
And the hacking resulted in bankruptcy.
Yes.
Because people were suing about that. But fortunately and luckily, she got the company back.
Right.
So she's turning the company into a nonprofit.
Correct.
And the goal of the company is to continue research of your DNA and how your medicines impact DNA in different ways.
Right.
Because everybody's DNA is different, and what works best for person A might not work best for person B.
Correct.
So she is going to do that, and she wants to impact and make everybody's life better. And that's why she's doing it. And I'm very excited and proud of her that she managed to get her company back in spite of all the adversity.
Absolutely. Before I let go of you from this absorbing conversation that I've had with you, you mentioned to me when we met at the UN headquarters that you are looking forward to the mouthful prospect of visiting India in near future as well, and the collaborations that you want to have in the Asian countries as well. What is it that's going to take you there in these countries such as India in future from, let's say, a few months from here on?
So I'm very excited about going to India, and I'm working with the company. It's a nonprofit. It's called Mantra for Change. And the goal of this company is to impact education K through 12 all over India, to change the system, not just, individual teachers. And I'm very excited about it because India is one of the greatest countries on the planet, and it has so much talent, and it's untapped because a lot of the kids are just forced to memorize. So my method will give them an opportunity to do maybe 60% memorization and 40% creativity innovation. And what I'm calling it is entrepreneurial training.
Right.
Entrepreneurial training, the old term for that is peer-to-peer project-based learning. But it's the same thing.
Right.
And so, yes, I'm very excited about going to India. I love everything about India. The food, the culture, everything. I like the clothing too, by the way.
Excellent. So we'll enter into Esther a rapid fire round with you, and we will ask you a few questions to see how prompt you are in delivering the answers.
Oh, good. Let's hope I know what I'm talking about.
When you met your husband, was it his Polish identity or the Stanford's tag that attracted you?
His Polish identity.
When your daughters were growing up, 3 of them, did you tell them to go to the prestigious Ivy League universities, or did you want them to restrict them to a peer-to-peer learning alone?
I wanted them to go to Berkeley, and not one of them did.
Now that your grandkids are also finding their own moorings, are you happy or satisfied, or do you still want to change the way that they have learned their academic careers?
No, I'm very happy with them. They all are really creative people, and their mothers, my daughters, did a great job replicating exactly the system that they grew up with.
First and the last video that you made on YouTube when your daughter went on to become the CEO of YouTube.
The last video I made, I don't really remember what it was.
The first video?
I don't remember the first video either.
So how many videos did she try to make of you and put them and uploaded them on YouTube when she became the CEO?
Well, so there is a video of me talking with her that is very well known on YouTube.
Right.
And I think it's pretty funny. I like it. I've made a lot of videos on YouTube, and they're usually about my teaching method. I've been trying to change the education system for a long time. Most people were still not even born.
Did you ever tell her, Susan, get my video up, push or more likes and more views?
No, I never even thought to do that. It's too bad I didn't think about that.
Correct. When you think about Anne's organization today.
23andMe.
Correct. What is that comes to your mind when you think of the name?
I think of a revolution in understanding your DNA. She was the first one out there with trying to understand people's DNA and doing a spit test. And now there's a lot of companies that have copied. So I'm very proud of her for being such an original thinker.
Are you an agnostic, a spiritual thinker, or just another Jew family member?
I'm a spiritual thinker.
What is the first thing that you do when you wake up in the morning?
I meditate.
What is the last thing that you do when you go to the bed?
I meditate.
What do you do in California when you are free?
I take hikes.
When was the last time you talked to Steve Jobs' daughter?
This morning.
What was it about?
Getting together.
What would you tell yourself if you were to rewind the clock and go to the 70s, start a journalism career afresh in the 70s, or be an educator that you are?
If I had to tell myself at the 70s, I think I still would do the same thing I did, because my goal is really to impact as many people as possible and to make them all have a better life. And this is the way you do it.
Excellent. Esther Wojcicki, it was a pleasure speaking to you on the show here in New York. We wish you all the very best for the future endeavors, for what you stand for, and for the things that you have brought to this country and for the countries beyond as well. Thank you so much for speaking to us. So that was Esther speaking to us, the octogenarian here in New York, for a formidable career that she has built for herself and for the 3 wonderful daughters and the grandkids as well. Keep following me, Rohan Dua, on The New Indian.